Hello, my name is Devin Jones, author of the Sparx Tribune. That's Sparx spelled with an X, Sparx spelled with an X, Tribune.org, independent investigative journalism and rogue progressive political commentary. This is the Sparx Tribune report. Today's headline is that Elizabeth Warren has announced, as of about 6 hours ago, via a 4.5-minute YouTube video, her candidacy for the presidency in 2020. She announced her White House bid amidst a message of economic populism, economic progressivism, whatever you would like to call it, and I'm going to play that video now so that you can listen to it.
In our country, if you work hard and play by the rules, you ought to be able to take care of yourself and the people you love. That's a fundamental promise of America. A promise that should be true for everyone. Growing up in Oklahoma, that promise came through for me and my family. After my older brothers joined the military and I was still just a kid, my daddy had a heart attack and couldn't work. My mom found a minimum wage job at Sears, and that job saved our house and our family. My daddy ended up as a janitor, but he raised a daughter who got to be a public school teacher, a law professor, and a senator. We got a real opportunity to build something. Working families today face a lot tougher path than my family did, and families of color face a path that is steeper and rockier, a path made even harder by the impact of generations of discrimination. I've spent my career getting to the bottom of why America's promise works for some families, but others who work just as hard slip through the cracks into disaster. And what I've found is terrifying. These aren't cracks that families are falling into, they're traps. America's middle class is under attack. How did we get here? Billionaires and big corporations decided they wanted more of the pie, and they enlisted politicians to cut them a fatter slice. They crippled unions so no one could stop them.
We're going to turn the bull loose.
Dismantled the financial rules meant to keep us safe after the Great Depression, and cut their own taxes so they paid less than their secretaries and janitors.
It's time to write the rules for the middle class.
After Wall Street crashed our economy in 2008, I left the classroom to go to Washington and confront the broken system head on.
Elizabeth Warren, apparently not afraid to tangle with Wall Street.
Elizabeth Warren is heading into the lion's den.
Mrs. Warren goes to Washington.
We created America's first consumer watchdog to hold the big banks accountable.
A woman who has warned of another meltdown if Washington doesn't straighten up.
I never thought I'd run for office, not in a million years. But when Republican senators tried to sabotage the reforms and run me out of town, I went back to Massachusetts and ran against one of them. And I beat him.
And we are going to turn Washington back to the people.
Who do we love? Warren! Who do we love? Warren!
Today, corruption is poisoning our democracy. Politicians look the other way while big insurance companies deny patients life-saving coverage, while big banks rip off consumers, and while big oil companies destroy this planet. Our government's supposed to work for all of us, but instead, it has become a tool for the wealthy and well-connected. The whole scam is propped up by an echo chamber of fear and hate, designed to distract and divide us. People who will do or say anything to hang on to power point the finger at anyone who looks, thinks, prays, or loves differently than they do.
Build that wall.
But this dark path doesn't have to be our future. We can make our democracy work for all of us. We can make our economy work for all of us. We can rebuild America's middle class, but this time we gotta build it for everyone. No matter where you live in America, and no matter where your family came from in the world, you deserve a path to opportunity, because no matter what our differences, most of us want the same thing, to be able to work hard, play by the same set of rules, and take care of the people we love. That's the America I'm fighting for. And that's why today I'm launching an exploratory committee for president. But the outcome of this election will depend on you. In the last 2 years, millions of people have done more than they ever thought they would to protect the promise of America. And here's what we learned. If we organize together, if we fight together, if we persist together, we can win. We can, and we will.
That was the video where she was announcing her candidacy for the presidency in 2020. And her economic populist record to which she refers is the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which she gained national prominence for. Albeit one might ask, if she's interested that much in protecting the American consumer, why it was that in the Democratic primaries she wasn't consistent with that in supporting Senator Sanders, the one who has consistently held on to a message of economic populism and economic progressivism. Why didn't she support Senator Sanders in the primaries, and why instead did she turn to the candidate who took money in millions from Wall Street? She supported Hillary Clinton in the primaries. We didn't forget that. So that would seem to be a bit of inconsistency on her part, which should be pointed out. It likewise should be pointed out that while she does have a website detailing her candidacy, said website does not include an issues page, a platform, exactly what she stands for, or anything of that sort. She tweeted out a couple of hours ago, she says, and I quote, "If you're all in for this new chapter of our fight, please sign up and let me know the American people deserve a real debate about how to level the playing field for working families and who is best to lead that fight," she says on Twitter, using her own hashtag #WarIn2020, and a link to the aforementioned website. Her slogan, obviously, is that we will rebuild the American class, but we seem to be lacking some details on the specifics of how she intends on doing that. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has been a bit of a half step in its history. And again, why is she supporting candidates like Hillary Clinton who back Wall Street if her main goal is to support the working families and the middle class? A bit of inconsistency on her part. While she does have a fairly decent voting record of not supporting war and having somewhat of a support for the working class when it comes to economic protections, she does not seem to be a very strong candidate, especially not in the light of the fact that we know Bernie Sanders is likely to run for president. We don't think she's going to garner the same support from the same amount of the American people for these reasons of, economic ambiguity, etc. And has also been known to play very much into identity politics, recently responding to Donald Trump's childish attack by releasing a DNA test and proving that she's fractionally Native American, as though that matters to the working families who are suffering economically speaking, to care whether she's fractionally Native American or not. At any rate, The Guardian wrote an article announcing likewise her candidacy entitled "Elizabeth Warren Announces 2020 Run for President Against Trump." Of course, Donald Trump's name is brought up multiple times in the article. I don't think we're confused about that, so I'm not going to even bother to read said article. But I'm now on OpenSecrets.org, which is sponsored by the Center for American Progress, and we have some more red flags, if you want to call them that, as far as main contributors. Emily's List comes up, a fairly neoliberal PAC, Super PAC, Political Action Committee, having donated quite a bit to her campaign, Women Count PAC, Harvard University, etc. I would encourage you to go to OpenSecrets.org for the sake of brevity and look at the donor list yourself. And other than a fairly decent voting record, we have economic ambiguity to tangle with, and certainly not someone to contend with Senator Sanders when it comes to economic progressivism or economic populism. My name is Devin Jones. You can find me on the Sparx Tribune. That's Sparx Tribune spelled with an X.org. Visit the Sparx Tribune Report, and you have a nice day.